I'm Elizabeth Cook, and this is The Minute. Taco Bell is closing indoor dining at some Oakland locations due to crime concerns. The fast food chain told us keeping a safe environment for employees and customers is their top priority. Drive-thrus, however, will remain open. 2 minors are facing gun charges in Santa Rosa. Authorities say they found several juveniles standing outside a Motel 6 on Cleveland Avenue on Saturday. Officers said they smelled marijuana and they did a search. They say they found 2 of them with loaded concealed revolvers. The 49ers are planning to cut their longest tenured player, defensive tackle Eric Armstead. That's according to a source with the Associated Press. Armstead was due to have a $17.4 million base salary this season. He was drafted by the Niners in the first round of 2015. The Bay Area's only primetime newscast at 8 and 9 on Pix Plus.
We're kicking off this work week with a mix of sun and clouds in the forecast for us. Earlier this morning, we saw some light showers off into the south and east bay, but that's clearing up nicely throughout this afternoon from lunchtime all the way until dinner time. More clouds are going to start rolling their way in late tonight, though, ahead of another rain system that mostly impacts us into the overnight hours while many of us are asleep. This is just by midnight. From Santa Rosa down into San Francisco, we see widespread showers starting to trickle off around the 4 a.m. hour. It's still pretty active down in the Santa Clara Valley at that point. And then tomorrow morning, just like this morning alone, a little bit of speckles of showers will be in those cloudy conditions, and then we clear up nicely heading into Tuesday afternoon. Now, from Tuesday heading into Wednesday, we have a big change in the forecast for us because all that rain was driven in from an area of low pressure to the north of us, but that's going to move off into the east. We're replacing it with a ridge of high pressure on the back end of it, and that's going to keep us clear and dry. It's actually like a heat dome heading into the next couple days. So by Wednesday, Thursday, heading into this weekend's forecast, we have beautiful weather right around the corner for us. And I want to talk about the temperatures too, because today we're kicking off this work week with upper 50s throughout most of the Bay Area, from Santa Rosa across the Golden Gate Bridge into San Francisco, across the Bay Bridge into Oakland, with a low 60s off into the East Bay. Now by Wednesday, heading into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we have a big warm up back into the upper 70s right around the corner for us with sunshine too. It's going to feel a lot more spring and almost summer-like for many of us here in the Bay Area. And we noticed that in our 7-day models nicely. Today we're in the low 60s. We hit the upper 70s heading into this weekend with sunshine and light winds to kick off this weekend in style. We'll have more on that coming up.
People in one Oakland neighborhood say they have been trying to get rid of abandoned cars for a year without any action from the city. So now some neighbors going to the extreme, tagging the vehicles with profanity. Lynn shows us how they hope to try and get the city's attention.
Neighbor Dejanay Cunningham says someone abandoned this SUV in front of her apartment building about a year ago. And someone dropped off this Hyundai Sonata on the same block roughly 4 months ago.
Yeah, definitely embarrassing.
Not just an eyesore and blight, but with multiple apartment buildings on the block, they're taking up valuable real estate.
It's hard to find parking.
The abandoned vehicles are parked in front of 2905 Bana Street in the Fruitvale district. One neighbor says she reported the cars to 311 last year, but the city has not taken action. 2 weeks ago, one fed-up neighbor tagged Councilman Noel Gallo's name and some bad words on the cars to draw attention.
I don't take it personal, and I understand people's frustration. But at the same time, there's only so much that I can do and we can do.
Councilman Gallo says his staff received a complaint from the neighbors 2 weeks ago, and they immediately flagged the transportation department, which handles these vehicles. But he says many city contracted tow yards are full, and the department is overwhelmed by the amount of abandoned and stolen cars.
Some of the locations where they're towing vehicles are full. And so we're trying to identify other properties that we can tow the vehicles to.
The city prioritizes abandoned cars that block driveways and streets. Given the lack of staffing and resources, one city worker tells me these cars may have to wait longer. Oakland police report last year they recorded almost 15,000 stolen cars.
I will be there tomorrow morning. Even if I have to get a private company to get it towed, I will get them towed.
Neighbors like Dejanay say they welcome any help to clean up their neighborhood.
Yeah, the street sweeper and be able to clean the street.
Well, another neighbor says the cars aren't always sitting empty. Some have turned into shelter for homeless people. She says that's made her family feel unsafe in their own neighborhood. We're getting word of yet another flight issue for United Airlines, this time on a flight headed to SFO. The plane from Australia had to return to Sydney Airport because of a maintenance issue. We're told Flight 830 landed safely. There were 167 passengers on board. The airline says it's providing accommodation overnight for passengers before rebooking them tomorrow. Now, this is just the latest in a string of troubles in the sky, and now Boeing is the target of a criminal investigation by the Justice Department. It stems from an incident in January when a door plug broke off in the middle of an Alaska Airlines flight. It's been a tough week for United, too. Several planes have had problems, including the one that had a tire fall off shortly after takeoff at SFO. It all comes just as the busy spring travel season gets ready to lift off. Max Darrow spoke with the pilot about the not-so-friendly skies.
The last week or so has seemed like quite a bumpy ride for air travel, especially for United Airlines. So it begs the question, are incidents happening more frequently, or are people just paying more attention to them? A commercial airline pilot with decades of experience tells me it's likely the latter.
Oh my goodness, look at the back of the plane, man.
Over the course of a week, 6 United Airlines flights have had problems. Some took off and turned around, others had to make emergency landings. 2 of those flights left SFO and were diverted to LAX, one for a hydraulics problem, the other had a tire fall off during takeoff.
Yes, there's a tire going down the runway.
That's never a good look for anyone.
Scott Miller is a pilot for a major airline and an aviation lecturer at San Jose State. While it was a turbulent week for United,
I don't see a rise in the incidents that are occurring. What I'm seeing is increased interest in the incidents that are occurring.
He says pilots are trained to deal with the unexpected and uncommon.
We spend 90% of our training time working on things that may only occur 1% of the time. So even though it appears United's having a bad week, in reality, everything's working at United Airlines because everyone is able to get back on the ground in one piece and, unfortunately, with a little bit of disruption, but be able to carry on their trip.
He did say a mid-air engine fire and the wheel debacle are incredibly rare situations.
The thing that is even more striking to me than the actual incident itself is that these 2 rare incidents happened in such close proximity of time.
Miller believes the dramatic Alaska Airlines incident is what recently sparked the higher level of interest and scrutiny in airline operations, but thinks it really started back in 2018 after the first deadly crash involving a Boeing MAX jet. However, some travelers aren't discouraged.
You think about how often those things happen, and you just have to believe this, they're rare.
Because of the changes that have been made in safety tracking and the safety management systems over the last 20 years in the United States, we've enjoyed the longest stretch of airline safety in the history of this country. And even with these incidents, I see that trend continuing. And as we build those programs, airline travel will become even safer in the coming years.
United Airlines has said the incidents it experienced over the last week are distinct and unrelated to one another.
Boeing has no comment on the investigation. The DOJ is also looking into whether Boeing complied with an earlier settlement from an investigation following 2 fatal crashes, one in 2018, the other in 2019. Well, still ahead on CBS News Bay Area, while several high-profile stores are closing up shop in San Francisco, we'll take you to a Bay Area-based bagel business that's betting on downtown bouncing back. Plus, businesses in Oakland celebrating Women's History Month with sisterhood, how they are teaming together to bring big discounts to the community. And if you've had a cough that just won't go away, you are not alone. We'll ask a Stanford doctor why it seems to be worse than normal this year.
Looking back, it's easy to see the unquestionable power of your stories.
It gets tougher. You get stronger.
When you put that positivity out there, it does multiply.
At KPIX, we're on a mission.
Come on in.
To go beyond news as usual. Because these are the people who connect and inspire us. And these are the stories that define us.
Well, today and tomorrow we still have some unsettled weather in the forecast for us, meaning some light showers into the overnight hours tonight, early morning hours tomorrow, but then we dry up quick heading into the rest of this week. What's interesting about this system is this area of low pressure that's bringing us that splash of showers. It wasn't really meant for us. It was meant for the Pacific Northwest more so. So they're going to get hit heavy with rain into the evening hours tonight. We're actually seeing high pressure build on the backside of that, meaning drier conditions for us starting on Wednesday with a nice warm up too. We're going to see daytime highs hit the 70s by this weekend, upper 70s in our inland areas. We just have to get through today first. And like I said, tonight, heading into those early morning hours tomorrow, we get a quick splash of showers sweeping through, and then we're left with drier conditions starting Tuesday afternoon, lasting throughout the rest of this week.
Retail activity in San Francisco is lagging, and many big stores have either closed up shop or are planning to do so. But some business owners see this moment as an opportunity to bet on downtown San Francisco. Our Wilson Walker talked with the owner of a burgeoning Bay Area bagel company about why she's putting her dough behind the idea that downtown will rise again.
The dough is coming up. It's been formed into this kind of rectangular log. This is going to knead it out smaller and divide it into chunks. You see that just gets wrapped up and the ends get stuck together and it comes out like a bagel.
Emily Winston is watching the early moments in the creation of a bagel, and this phase is decidedly high tech.
And then we've got our robot arm that picks it up and puts it in the rack. And that prevents a ton of repetitive stress injury and workers' comp issues.
But even the newest technology does not replace the most essential elements of this old art form.
We're doing the old school New York bagel process here, and I have not added any automation to this. This is exactly as it's been done for the last 100 years.
And it is that knack for blending tradition and modernity that has pushed Berkeley's Boychik to the center of the bagel universe.
Especially adding that arm, we're probably running the most technically advanced bagel operation right now, which is fun, but my background's mechanical engineering. So I love this. This is where I get to shine.
Take a quick tour and it's easy to see how this passion for the modest bagel has translated into not just success, but international acclaim.
My wildest fantasy was that the New York Times maybe would one day say that my bagels were okay. And then they came and said, you know, we're even better than New York, which was just completely nuts. But yeah, it's awesome. I have a lot of people that are super psyched to see a woman building a business that's so successful and gaining ground so publicly. And it's an honor. It's an honor to be a role model like that. I'm super stoked. I'm excited to change the bagel industry.
Right, Casey, you love coming here?
Yeah.
We moved to SF in like 2016, and you know, you miss a good bagel if you've been an East Coaster your whole life.
Boychik has found a loyal following among those willing to seek out quality, and that means more growth with 3 new locations in San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm bullish on downtown. I'm investing in downtown.
Winston says the city's falling lease prices have created the perfect opportunity to position for the years ahead in what she sees as the inevitable San Francisco rebound, the next chapter for Boychik's incredible expansion from a single store to a Bay Area institution in just 4 years.
The question was where and when. And I don't want to build 40 stores around the Bay Area. We're going to keep it to about maybe 10 or 12. People want good bagels. They're desperate for good bagels.
They look good, don't they? Well, Boychik's 3 new San Francisco shops will be on Fillmore Street in Lower Pack Heights, Battery Street in the Financial District, and on Sacramento Street in Presidio Heights. Well, businesses in Oakland are partnering along Piedmont Avenue for Women's History Month. Many of the women-owned businesses there are teaming up to support each other and provide discounts to customers throughout March. Sean Chitness has more on how it came about and how it will work.
Step into Allison Futerall's store and you'll quickly realize she was always meant to run a business like this.
I just really love the joy that plants bring to people.
For more than a decade, she's owned Crimson Horticultural Rarities in Oakland, taking a hobby she had and turning it into a full-time job. A career change she didn't expect to make in her 40s.
I really had no idea that I could pull off this.
So she understands the importance of getting good support. And when she learned that a group of women were getting together along Piedmont Avenue, where her store has been for a few years now, she said it was a no-brainer.
You know, I knew there were a lot of women-owned businesses here on Piedmont, but I guess I didn't really realize like quite how many there were. And so I just love that. I think it's just great.
All month, they'll each be offering discounts to bring more people to their shopping district and promoting each other as a collection of stores.
I wanted to do something together to show people that, you know, this is what small business is. This is what women do. This is how women show up every day in your lives.
Mika Delmore helped to come up with the idea of a passport, encouraging customers to walk from one store to another while shopping along the avenue. She owns the restaurant Pomela, also located on Piedmont. Each business is not only giving out daily deals, they're contributing raffle prizes for customers to win.
I'm incredibly aware of what has been done for me by the women that came before me. I feel that so many women have done so much to open doors for me.
Allison says any extra effort they take can only help. Regardless of where you are located and how long you've been at it, there's always a need to think creatively and drive up foot traffic as well as sales.
It just brings awareness to the avenue and to all of the small businesses here and to all of the small businesses that are women-owned.
Personally and professionally, it's a journey of struggle that's also been filled with special moments. Ups and downs that make Allison proud to be a part of this newly formed and growing collective of female entrepreneurs.
Still ahead, persistent coughs due to the flu, cold, or COVID becoming more and more common these days. A doctor with Stanford joins us to explain why those lingering symptoms seem to be the norm. And a reminder, you can stream CBS News Bay Area wherever, whenever. Catch all of our live newscasts plus news and weather updates throughout the day. Find us on the free CBS News app or on Pluto TV.
Positive energy is so important for us to do what we do every single morning. And like a family, we're building each other up. How can we get the best Reed? How can we get the best Gianna? And of course, the best Jessica and Nicole. I just want to make sure that every single day our viewers tune in and they're getting something authentic, genuine, and real. What you see on air, that's me, that's Reed, that's Gianna. That's who we are when the lights are turned off.
Wake up with a morning edition, weekdays on KPIX.
Daytime highs today are sitting a little bit below average. We're talking about upper 50s and lower 60s for our daytime highs. Cloudy conditions for the most part, and we even saw that splash of showers down in the South Bay and off into the East Bay earlier this morning. Now, speaking of the rain, we have more unsettled weather in the forecast for us, but that happens later tonight. Mostly up in the North Bay, and then it slowly sweeps its way throughout the South Bay heading into the early morning hours tomorrow. And you know what? Let me show you what that's looking like for us on our Futurecast system. This is a great tool on a day like today. Models showing just some light rain starting to form up in the North Bay late tonight around 10 o'clock. It continues to sweep throughout the Bay Area into the overnight hours. We're left with drier conditions on the back end of this, though. By tomorrow morning, heading into tomorrow afternoon, look at this. Partly cloudy skies, splash of showers until around lunchtime, and then we clear up fast heading into the rest of Tuesday into early Wednesday. And now that's a part of an area of low pressure that's just to the north of us, impacting the Pacific Northwest a lot more than us. And then after that system moves through, we're left with dry conditions for Wednesday, Thursday, lasting into this weekend. It's our first dry break in quite some time that lasts as long as it does. And we're going to warm up too, with daytime highs hitting the upper 70s by this weekend.
If you or someone you know has a cough that just will not go away, you're not alone. It seems like everyone is coughing from the cold, the flu, COVID, you name it. And according to a new report in CMAJ, that post-viral cough can last anywhere from 3 to 8 weeks. Dr. Lauren Eggert joins us now. She's a pulmonologist at Stanford Healthcare. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, why do these coughs stay for as long as they do? It just feels like they never go away.
You know, there's a lot of reasons, but I want to first start by saying it is totally normal to have a cough for up to 8 weeks after you get sick. So right now we're kind of at the tail end of respiratory virus season, which generally goes from about September to March, end of March. really peaks December, January around the holidays when everybody's indoors, the weather's cold, we're all congregating for the holidays. And you get sick with a respiratory virus, and because of multiple reasons, either persistent virus, postnasal drip, some post-viral airways hyper-responsiveness, people can just cough for a long time. And I know it's painful, but it's not abnormal.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. So how do you kick that lingering cough? What types of remedies do you recommend? Is it an inhaler? Is it medication? What's the best way?
So I think it really depends. I think for the first couple weeks when you're sick with the acute virus, it's really just supportive care. Unfortunately, there's not a bunch of magic pills out there. Over-the-counter remedies, hydration, over-the-counter cough medicines with dextromethorphan, which is a popular cough suppressant in many cold medicines, can be helpful. There's some evidence actually, even in children, for a teaspoon of honey can kind of coat the throat and help a little bit with cough. Once it is lingering for more than a few weeks, although it may be normal, maybe a good time to see your doctor just to make sure there's nothing else going on. You know, we do see pneumonia sometimes comes after a viral infection. So, may need an inhaler if there is some of that airways hyperreactivity after the virus. Interestingly, having prolonged coughs after getting colds and viruses is one of the most common things we hear in clinical history of patients with asthma. Everybody else got better, but I kept coughing, and that can be a sign of underlying asthma. Also, you can get a little bit of asthma like airways changes after you get a cold or a virus. So sometimes an inhaler can help.
It could be very concerning if you are sitting next to a coworker, maybe somebody on the bus who keeps coughing and coughing and coughing. And the concern, of course, in a post-COVID world, if you want to clear a room, just start coughing, right? But when you know that you've been coughing for a couple weeks, are you still carrying that virus, or is this just sort of the residual effects of when you were sick?
Oh, no. Once you've been fever-free and all your other symptoms are improving, you're no longer contagious. I know, this is one of the most common things I hear from patients with chronic cough is how difficult it can be just to be around other people and that constant concern for coughing. But people shouldn't be concerned. Once the symptoms are better, you've been afebrile, everything else is improving, you're no longer contagious. It's more of unfortunately, just an annoyance and to both you and sometimes other people.
But there is good news, right? We're on the tail end of cold and flu season, right?
Yes, we are almost there. Like I said, generally peaks December, January, and then things start to calm down. We should be seeing things end around end of March. And hopefully those coughs, those post-viral coughs will start to lessen and we'll get some relief this spring and summer.
Oh, that'll be so nice. All right, Dr. Lauren Eggert with Stanford Healthcare. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, coming up in our next half hour on CBS News Bay Area, accessible and friendly. The North Bay can create an experience that children with disabilities can enjoy. And firefighters say it'll help prevent house fires. The new rules in San Francisco for batteries inside your home. I'm Elizabeth Cook, and this is The Minute. A Santa Rosa family survived a small plane crash in Mendocino County, all thanks to the plane's parachute system. Authorities say the plane lost power minutes after takeoff on Friday. The parachute slowed the plane's descent, and all 3 occupants have only minor injuries. The city of Oakland is asking people to continue to avoid the water at Lake Merritt. Preliminary results show traces of algae is causing the reddish color there. The city says it's not as toxic as a couple years ago when an algae bloom killed thousands of fish. Protesters in San Francisco are continuing to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. This was outside the Jewish Community Relations Council's gala at the Palace Hotel last night. Demonstrators say the JCRC does not represent its values, and it responded that Israel has a right to defend itself.
We're kicking off this work week with a mix of sun and clouds in the forecast for us. Earlier this morning, we saw some light showers off into the south and east bay, but that's clearing up nicely throughout this afternoon from lunchtime all the way until dinner time. More clouds are going to start rolling their way in late tonight, though, ahead of another rain system that mostly impacts us into the overnight hours while many of us are asleep. This is just by midnight. From Santa Rosa down into San Francisco, we see widespread showers starting to trickle off around the 4 a.m. hour. It's still pretty active down in the Santa Clara Valley at that point. And then tomorrow morning, just like this morning alone, a little bit of speckles of showers will be in those cloudy conditions, and then we clear up nicely heading into Tuesday afternoon. Now, from Tuesday heading into Wednesday, we have a big change in the forecast for us because all that rain was driven in from an area of low pressure to the north of us, but that's going to move off into the east. We're replacing it with a ridge of high pressure on the back end of it, and that's going to keep us clear and dry. It's actually like a heat dome heading into the next couple days. So by Wednesday, Thursday, heading into this weekend's forecast, we have beautiful weather right around the corner for us. And I want to talk about the temperatures too, because today we're kicking off this work week with upper 50s throughout most of the Bay Area, from Santa Rosa across the Golden Gate Bridge into San Francisco, across the Bay Bridge into Oakland, with a low 60s off into the East Bay. Now by Wednesday, heading into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we have a big warm up back into the upper 70s right around the corner for us with sunshine too. It's going to feel a lot more spring and almost summer-like for many of us here in the Bay Area, and we notice that in our 7-day models nicely. Today we're in the low 60s. We hit the upper 70s heading into this weekend with sunshine and light winds to kick off this weekend in style. We'll have more on that coming up.
Well, police in the East Bay are investigating a couple of brazen burglaries over the course of 2 days. Thieves used a truck to ram their way in and steal an ATM Friday at the Aisle 1 gas station market on Blanding Avenue. The night before, burglars used a van to drag the safe out of an Oakland jewelry repair store about 4 miles away on Grand Avenue. But as Dot Lynn tells us, in both cases, for all their efforts, the thieves got away empty-handed.
I'm told investigators from the 2 police departments are sharing notes. While the 2 cases have similarities, it's unclear if they're connected. This is surveillance footage of the first burglary at Grand Jewelry Repair near Oakland's Lake Merritt. Happened on Thursday morning around 3:45 a.m. 2 vehicles and 5 burglars. The store owner's son, Christopher Tran, says they used this van and a rope to drag open the metal gate. Once inside, they used the same rope to try to drag a large safe out.
But it snapped, so they took a heavy metal chain, put that over the safe, and then that's when they were able to drag it out.
The safe was so heavy, it took them a while to secure and tie it to the back of the van.
The safe, they couldn't quite get it into the utility truck, so it's dragging, so you see a bunch of sparks. As they actually would get on the freeway, PD was right behind them. So I think that's why they kind of dropped it, because it's heavy, so, you know, it's weighing down the car.
The burglars took off and left behind the safe in the middle of the road. Police recovered the safe, which contained thousands of dollars in jewelry and watches. The jewelry repair shop also experienced significant damage when the burglars dragged the safe through the store. The owner, Mr. Tran, was in tears when he saw the damage on Thursday.
So this shop, 34 years, all my life in there. I raised my kid, but now I don't know if we're gonna come back.
Now he's thinking about a retirement, The only thing that sucks is, it's kind of more like a forced retirement because he doesn't feel safe.
It's the second costly burglary in 3 years at the store. The immigrant who escaped the war in Vietnam says they can't seem to escape the crime in Oakland.
Thank you all the customer supporter until now, 34 years. Thank you very much.
Nearby in Alameda, authorities say on Friday morning around 4:30, burglars used a U-Haul truck to back into aisle 1's glass doors. They then used a chain to drag an ATM machine out of the gas station store.
I feel kind of desensitized. I feel like this is kind of a normal occurrence in the Bay Area, and it's sad to feel like that.
Alameda police say they were able to quickly recover the truck and the ATM in Oakland. But in both cases, the burglars got away. The Tran family says these burglaries are killing small businesses.
Similar to my parents, they bootstrapped up. We need leaders to bootstrap up, right? We need more hands on the ground, actually lead, do something.
This kind of crime happens so often, some Bay Area stores have removed ATM machines from their locations. Some stores no longer accept cash, only credit and debit cards to avoid robberies.
Electric scooters and bikes have become commonplace on our Bay Area streets, and now owners in San Francisco may have to change the way they charge and store their devices. Max Darrow explains why.
The legislation effectively introduced a new set of safety standards for storing and charging personal mobility devices that are powered by lithium-ion batteries. The hope is the regulations will help keep people safe. With more people using electric bikes, scooters, and skateboards to get around San Francisco, that means there are more lithium-ion batteries in the city. And San Francisco Fire Lieutenant Mariano Elias says the fire department is seeing more lithium-ion battery-related fires as a result.
I've been around fires that have happened due to mostly scooters.
A new set of safety standards took effect the first week of March, geared towards preventing these kinds of fires. People living in a multi-unit building, not single-family homes, are limited to 4 lithium-ion powered mobility devices per household. When charging, they must be plugged into their own outlets, not power strips, and they must be 3 feet away from each other. Damaged or reassembled batteries are also prohibited per the new fire code.
What we've seen is the potential for overcharging. Lithium-ion batteries do not like to be in excessive heat.
This was the aftermath of what was believed to be a lithium-ion battery-sparked fire at a Walnut Creek home last summer. This video shows a battery burst into flames in an Orange County garage in November. And this scene is from Queens, New York in January, when a lithium-ion battery exploded at an e-bike shop and the store burst into flames. Elias says these kinds of fires are very tough to extinguish.
It happens very rapidly. Almost like I said, an explosion, and it limits the time people can get out because of the amount of smoke being produced.
Last year, over 60 fires caused by lithium-ion batteries in San Francisco, with sadly, tragically, our first death.
Supervisor Aaron Peskin introduced the legislation and says it was a 2020 high-rise fire in his district that first alerted him to this problem.
It was a gentleman who had 5 electric scooters. One of the batteries combusted. It spread to the other 4 scooters that were charging. Fortunately, nobody was killed, but 15 units of apartments were displaced.
The big picture, says Peskin and Elias.
We don't want anyone to lose their life over anything, and this is one of the reasons why this new law is in effect.
Now, the new safety standards also apply to places like storage facilities and repair shops. They can charge more than 4 devices at a time, but they'll have to adapt to comply with the new safe charging and storage practices. A summer camp in Sonoma County just opened its doors for kids with disabilities and their families to enjoy themselves. But as John Ramos explains, it was born from a shared loss.
The real fun of summer camp is feeling that you belong to a group, and this camp emphasizes that. But in order to do that, they had to go through a pretty traumatic experience.
Hi everyone, welcome to camp. You can check in down here.
On this day, the welcome to Camp Newman was more than just words. It was the whole concept behind the Sunday Fun Day.
It's a day for families that have someone in their household with disabilities, and it's just a free day of fun to be able to experience camp
and be together in a camp environment. Guests enjoyed all the usual camp activities, from tie-dyeing shirts to taking mountain hikes to archery, which 11-year-old Calvin Bergenfeld decided was harder in real life than in his video games Legend of Zelda Volumes 1 and 2.
I play both of them, and I'm an exceptional archer in both of those games.
And then there was 9-year-old Max Winnig from Moraga, who was determined to perfect the aerodynamics of a paper airplane.
I think they would fly better, but I'm going to improve them because I want to be an engineer and I like building things.
But it was in the camp's building, or rather rebuilding, that Sunday Fun Day took on its importance. Here they know something about overcoming challenges. Almost the entire camp burned down during the 2017 Tubbs fire, and though it was a horrible experience, it also gave everyone a chance to re-examine their mission. There are things that are accessible, but that doesn't mean that they're actually inclusive. It doesn't mean that it's really meant for people to feel a part and like they belong. So soil was moved to flatten out the common areas to make it easier for wheelchairs, and stairs are stuck off to the side while ramps are front and center, encouraging everyone to use the same route.
Just seeing the families being able to easily get their child where they need to go, and it doesn't take 3 people like it used to get them where they need to go, and people that want to be on a ramp because they want to be on a ramp can be on a ramp. So it's awesome.
And we really rearranged all the things that we did and are building back with dignity in mind, not just inclusion, but really a sense of belonging and dignity. And I think it's revolutionized who we are as an organization as well. And that was something this mother named Beth appreciated for her son Elon and for herself.
When you're a parent of a neurodivergent kid, you worry, are they going to be welcomed here? Are they going to be judged? Am I going to be judged? I think this is, just important that our kids feel included and free and welcomed, and that parents feel that too. Yes.
Caring for loved ones with disabilities is a major challenge, but Camp Newman knows all about challenges, and they've risen from the ashes with a commitment that no one else should have to go it alone.
Up next, a Bay Area scout is being honored for saving a life. How he put his training to use.
I could have easily stood up and said, hey, help, but what I did was just look to my son.
Well, today and tomorrow we still have some unsettled weather in the forecast for us, meaning some light showers into the overnight hours tonight, early morning hours tomorrow, but then we dry up quick heading into the rest of this week. What's interesting about this system is this area of low pressure that's bringing us that splash of showers. It wasn't really meant for us. It was meant for the Pacific Northwest more so. So they're going to get hit heavy with rain into the evening hours tonight. We're actually seeing high pressure build on the backside of that, meaning drier conditions for us starting on Wednesday with a nice warm up too. We're going to see daytime highs hit the 70s by this weekend, upper 70s in our inland areas. We just have to get through today first. And like I said, tonight, heading into those early morning hours tomorrow, we get a quick splash of showers sweeping through, and then we're left with drier conditions starting Tuesday afternoon, lasting throughout the rest of this week.
A Daly City teenager is being honored for using his scout training to save his little brother's life. As Len Ramirez tells us, the scout and his family were out to dinner when a celebration nearly became a tragedy.
Yeah. Don't stop moving.
I held my arm on the table.
10-year-old Finnegan Delaney describes his moments of panic when he couldn't breathe and couldn't speak because a piece of chicken was stuck in his throat.
Trying every way possible to get it out.
Finnegan was out with his 13-year-old brother Dashiell, his mom and his dad, and extended family who were all together at Thanksgiving time to celebrate life with their grandfather Noble Zarate, who was battling cancer. It was a fun, lighthearted night at a Concord hot pot restaurant.
I got the chicken.
That is, until Finnegan started choking.
I tried putting my hand in and tried taking the chicken out, but only a piece came out, and it was very scary.
The boy's mom, Catherine, was seated a few places away.
And all of a sudden I saw Finnegan struggling, and I looked at my older son and I gave him the mom look of like, help.
Dashiell had recently finished his Boy Scouts first aid training, and as others were stunned into inaction, he took charge.
I rushed to his back. I turned him like this. I wrapped my arms around him with one fist in the ball and the other around his hand, right underneath his diaphragm, or not diaphragm, solar plexus. I pushed down and I pushed up.
With his little brother's life on the line, he did the Heimlich maneuver, and it worked.
I just felt very relieved when it came down my throat, and I just said to myself, that was close, I'm alive.
You know, I could have easily stood up and said, hey, help, but what I did was just look to my son, and he was able to jump to action.
I wasn't really panicky. I just saw the situation in front of me, and I performed. We practiced a lot in the first aid and merit badge, and I feel like that's very essential to be able to do that, because a lot of people every year die from choking.
Dashiell's actions caught the attention of the National Boy Scouts of America organization, which just awarded him with one of their highest honors.
It gives me a great honor to present the Medal of Merit to Star Scout Dashiell Delaney of Troop 333, Golden Gate District.
The Medal of Merit is given to scouts who go above and beyond to exemplify the ideals and skills of scouting, and it's often given to scouts who save a life. It will help him in his goal of being an Eagle Scout like his father, David.
I'm very grateful for scouting, and it's how it made such a big impact on America and my life and my brother's life, and basically on my family. And we're very grateful to still have Finnegan.
And speaking of family, it was the last time the boys would get to be with their grandfather, Mr. Zarate, who passed about a month later.
This was such a momentous occasion because we were celebrating life and also saving lives on the same day.
What a remarkable young man. Wow. Well, Len tells us Dashiell also has a black belt in Taekwondo. There's nothing he can't do, right? Well, coming up, the beat goes on. This place has been a hub for music education in San Francisco for more than 100 years. We'll take a tour of the new expansion.
Daytime highs today are sitting a little bit below average. We're talking about upper 50s and lower 60s for our daytime highs. Cloudy conditions for the most part, and we even saw that splash of showers down in the South Bay and off into the East Bay earlier this morning. Now, speaking of the rain, we have more unsettled weather in the forecast for us, but that happens later tonight. Mostly up in the North Bay, and then it slowly sweeps its way throughout the South Bay heading into the early morning hours tomorrow. And you know what? Let me show you what that's looking like for us on our Futurecast system. This is a great tool on a day like today. Models showing just some light rain starting to form up in the North Bay late tonight around 10 o'clock. It continues to sweep throughout the Bay Area into the overnight hours. We're left with drier conditions on the back end of this, though. By tomorrow morning, heading into tomorrow afternoon, look at this. Partly cloudy skies, splash of showers until around lunchtime, and then we clear up fast heading into the rest of Tuesday into early Wednesday. And now that's a part of an area of low pressure that's just to the north of us, impacting the Pacific Northwest a lot more than us. And then after that system moves through, we're left with dry conditions for Wednesday, Thursday, lasting into this weekend. It's our first dry break in quite some time that lasts as long as it does. And we're going to warm up too, with daytime highs hitting the upper 70s by this weekend.
San Francisco's Community Music Center has been a training ground for young musicians for decades. Now, as Lorene Ayub reports, it's getting a big boost.
It all began in 1921, and the music is still playing. We're here at the Community Music Center in the Mission District, where the campus has expanded, reaching more students and more ears.
The timeless sound of the saxophone. It's one of many skills music student Cruz Morrison has acquired during his sessions at the Community Music Center. He is constantly challenged and growing, and he says the support has helped increase his self-esteem as a young performer.
Playing the sax allows me to really just connect with the music, express my musical abilities, and just kind of feel like I'm more a part of the music.
And being more a part of the music is really the heart of the CMC. They chose to expand to reach more students, not just in the Mission District, but all over the Bay Area. Julie Steinberg, the executive director of the nonprofit, is thrilled about the expansion.
Our new branch, our expanded facility, really means that we are going to be able to welcome about 1,000 more students every year.
And more students means more confidence. At least that's how student Montse feels when she sings now. And Cruz is growing with confidence too. He's participated in multiple public performances alongside his peers.
I think my ability to solo has really expanded here.
From the keys to the drums, the music brings joy to young artists like Liliana too.
The music makes me happy in the inside.
Liliana is onto something. A Harvard Health study emphasized the impact musical expression has on improving mental health.
I am really impressed with CMC and the way that it walks the walk. And being here is like a second home. The artists that we have here, the faculty that we have here, our amazing staff, our amazing board, they are just so dedicated to seeing our community shine.
And shining is just what is happening with students like Cruz and so many others, as they learn and collaborate with one another.
Being in different combos, being able to play with so many different people, and just like the sense of community is really great.
A key that keeps the mission moving forward.
Well, from music to movies, and it was a big night for Oppenheimer at the 96th Annual Academy Awards. The movie about the creation of the atomic bomb during World War II won 7 awards last night, including Best Picture and Best Director.
We don't know where this incredible journey is going from here, but to know that you think that I'm a meaningful part of it means the world to me.
Now, Oppenheimer also won awards for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor. Emma Stone was honored as Best Actress for her portrayal of a woman brought back from the dead with a child's brain in Poor Things.
It's not about me. It's about a team that came together to make something greater than the sum of its parts.
Poor Things also grabbed a win for Best Costume Design, which was presented by a nearly naked John Cena, one of the highlights last night. Meantime, Divine Joy Randolph won Best Supporting Actress for her role in The Holdovers.
For so long, I've always wanted to be different.
And now I realize I just need to be myself. And I thank you. I thank you for seeing me.
Billie Eilish and her brother grabbed the Oscar for Best Song, What Was I Made For, from Barbie. And Barbie actor Ryan Gosling didn't win an Oscar, but he got the crowd going performing the nominated song, I'm Just Ken, probably the highlight of the night. Well, thanks so much for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Elizabeth Cook. We'll be right back with your First Alert forecast and a look at your top stories. I'm Elizabeth Cook, and this is The Minute. Taco Bell is closing indoor dining at some Oakland locations due to crime concerns. The fast food chain told us keeping a safe environment for employees and customers is their top priority. Drive-thrus, however, will remain open. 2 minors are facing gun charges in Santa Rosa. Authorities say they found several juveniles standing outside a Motel 6 on Cleveland Avenue on Saturday.